But what I wanted to talk about today, morals. How many of you know what morals are? Only 2 people in the front row, 3 people. But morals, in the dictionary, it says rules of right conduct, or the distinction between right and wrong. And all of you, and we've talked about this before, that you know right and wrong, and that God gave you this inherent thing that when you're about to do something really wrong, morally wrong, you get that weird feeling in your stomach, and you're nervous about it, and you know it's not right. And then there's evil. And in the dictionary it says evil, the wicked or immorality of someone or something. So we want to turn away from evil and wicked things and the demonic. Because something can be demonic and lead us out of our salvation. And we don't want that to happen. So we need to make some room here. A little bit. But think about that. Am I making a choice that's morally right and following righteousness? Or am I doing something demonic that leads me away from the goodness of God? So God is good?
All the time.
All right. And St. Paul, since it is All Saints' Day, and it is the year of Paul, in Romans, it says, we know that all things work for good for those who love God, who are called according to His purpose. So if we've talked about surrendering and being delivered from the things that keep us from the love of God. You know, that's what Paul's talking about, is that we have to be willing to be of God. And what happens to us when, we're about to sin? Because we have choice. And we can choose not to sin. But what generally leads us into sin? Temptation. Now I'm going to tell you a story. This summer, I actually had a day off. And my son Dominic, which some of you know, real big guy, he wanted to go to the pool, which is down the street from our house. So we went over there, had a great day. Coming back, we're walking back, and my niece is with us. And what happens when we're encountered with temptation? We fall into it. So we're walking back, just relaxed, had a good day, and what happens? Dominic goes to walk off the curb and starts to fall. But it wasn't fast, anything like that. Here. Remember I said back up? Move. Move. Get out. Move over there. I'm serious. You got to move. I'm not kidding. Okay? So he goes to step off the curb, and it's like, and I mean, this is a big dude. You guys, if you know him, you know what I'm talking about. He's kind of goofy anyways. He's got these crazy legs. And he's falling in slow motion, and Monique and I are just there like, and all of a sudden, what does he do? He hits the ground, and of course it's 120 some degrees. He's like, hot, hot, hot. All of a sudden it was real fast. If all of us, when we encountered temptation, when all of a sudden we got to the sin and said, hot, hot, and ran away, we wouldn't commit that sin. But that ego kicks in. And what does ego stand for? Easing God out. And we all of a sudden are like, hey, this looks pretty good, and it makes me feel pretty good. I think I'm going to do this. So we're glorifying ourselves and not God. All of a sudden, we took something holy, like Sam was talking about earlier. We're all called to be saints, and we lose the purity. All of us were created completely pure. We would reflect light. We were transparent. You can see through that bottle. But what happens in temptation is that we open ourselves up. We take the lid off of something holy, And all of a sudden, we're willing to step into sin. And that's not a good thing. So, all of a sudden, evil was up there and saying, I can change something holy and make it dark. And we step into that sin, and it starts filling us up. So then all of a sudden, we're not as pure as we used to be. We're not reflecting anything good anymore. That purity is gone. But we made one sin. And all of a sudden, our minds are clouded. And the next time we're able to do something wrong, it's a little easier. And we walk into sin again. So now, all of a sudden, something that was made pure, clean, reflected goodness, you could see right through it and knew that it was special, is dark and heavy. And that's what we talked about coming on this retreat. Bringing all that stuff that makes us dark and ugly. All that stuff that we have decided, I got to deal with this. It's part of life. People who are run down, they talk about, there's all these things in life and it isn't going to be sweet. That's a lie. Christ is the way. He leads us away from that. But you can decide to put the cap back on and carry it around with you. And when we do things wrong, all of a sudden, the people that we love, the people who know us the most, notice a change. They see that blackness that fills us up. And they start to talk to us, and we're like, oh no, leave me alone. You don't know what you're talking about. I haven't changed. There's nothing wrong with me. I don't have anything to hide. And we get to the point where we turn ourselves completely upside down. And that blackness just fills us from head to toe. And nobody recognizes us anymore. It gets to the point where, if you look at this, ourselves, the inside is completely changed. But the outside still is us. Well, we can let sin bog us down to the point where nobody even recognizes us anymore. Our whole appearance changes. And we get to the point where nothing matters. That despair, the thing that we can't change and we don't know what to do. And, we fall and sin more and more and get to the point where nothing can help us. And it gets to the point where, we become broken. And all of a sudden, we're something that nobody recognizes. Just blackness and brokenness. But we have an opportunity. Christ came and suffered and died for each one of us. And He told us that we can be recreated. That we have an opportunity to be holy. And we have the opportunity today to go into confession. To enter a place where we can talk about all those things that bog us down, that fill us up, that make us black and ugly, and cloud who we are. But we can go where it's pure and have absolution and be changed back into the creatures we were created to be, reflecting the light, something special. So as we go into our small groups, you have your books. And there's an examination of conscience. Go through each one of them. And as our holy priests gather themselves together and get ready to absolve you from all the things that are keeping you from being holy. And like Sam said, it says in the Gospels that Christ says, do all you can to be holy, and then go out and save all the people. So, go. Go with your small